let me check. Alright, seems to be working. Alright, hi there, my name is Artem. Today we'll try to introduce the JustChess platform and its development process. I hope it will be useful and maybe interesting. First of all, who am I? I am currently a master's student and I develop a personal chess platform for a couple of years already. It is available on justchess.org website, as you can see. So basically here you can play with other people or engine. Let me go to my profile page to show you that all games are stored in the database and you can come back to them at any time. So basically you can click on each game and go through all completed moves to see them, and also the clock values are also stored. There is a leaderboard page. As you can see, there are quite a few registered players already, even though I deployed the website just 2 months ago. Okay, during the stream, I think I will go on for an hour or so, and after that I will see if there are some questions in the chat and try to answer them. So with that being said, let's move to the topic of the stream. So today we are going to set up a local development environment which I use to develop this project. First of all, I'm using Linux Mint as my operating system and do all the development stuff here. And I obviously have all tools already set up, but for this stream I have prepared a clean installation of Linux Mint in a VirtualBox to show you all steps required to set up the development environment from scratch. Keep in mind that if you are using Windows or macOS or God forbid FreeBSD, then you will need to make some adjustments to the installation process. I will try my best to not forget and mention them. So here is the simplified project architecture. So we have a server written in the Go programming language which connects to the database, MySQL database, and to the MailPit application to send emails locally. For the browser part, I'm using plain JS, CSS, and for the HTML rendering, I'm using Golang standard library and package called HTML/template. And basically, if that sounds interesting, then we can go to the virtual machine and start by installing Docker. So if you are not familiar with Docker, it is a software that allows to wrap infrastructure such as database, backend service, etc. in so-called containers, which are just lightweight virtual machines. And it is useful since we can manage containers via text files. So for example, to update the version of the database, you will just need to change the version number in config file and rebuild that container. Without Docker, you will need to use package manager and manually delete old files and then install the new version, which is much harder. So hope that makes sense. So let me just go ahead and find the installation steps for the Docker. Actually, I might need to set up the search language to English. So, and the region to the United States. All right, seems good. So as I'm using Linux Mint, I can simply find Docker installation Ubuntu, because Linux Mint is based on Ubuntu. And I actually like the guide from DigitalOcean here because it covers additional steps kinda conveniently. So let me just find. Yep, it is it. Okay, so if you are using Windows, then you will need to install something called vSL2, which is basically a lightweight virtual machine from Microsoft to run Linux applications on Linux. You can find the installation steps on Microsoft website, and after you installed this thing, come back here and follow the instructions. So as for now, we just need to open the terminal window, and let me split the screen. So yeah, now we just need to install the Docker packages, and to do that we need to add apt repositories. So first of all, let me just grab these commands and paste them. All right. I think there is some errors because I need to select a new version here. Maybe it is outdated guide. Maybe I can find the newer version. Let me just type DigitalOcean 24.04. So maybe it will be this one. Yeah, it seems to be this one. Right, let me just try these commands. Okay, so we have in this the repository download Docker does not have a release file. Updating from such a repository can be done securely and therefore disabled by default. Okay, so I think this guide is kind of outdated, so I will find the official Docker installation steps. Let me just grab this. So this is official Docker website. We can click on Ubuntu here and see. So first of all, it suggests to remove the previous versions, but we don't have this, so we can skip. And here are actual repositories. All right. I don't understand why it displays this error message, because I didn't actually. Let me just check if you can see it, even if you can see it. So basically it is here. You may not even be able to see this error message. Let me just. Okay, so there is some warnings and errors, but I don't think that they are that important. Maybe we can just ignore them. Let me just see. Alright, seems like we can install packages and ignore these error messages, which is kinda okay in this situation. So yeah, seems like Docker is installed. Okay. Let me check it by typing this command. Okay, so Docker systemd service is active and running. That means that installation was successful. It's nice. We can verify it by running the hello world image. Yeah, it's pulling that image from the Docker hub, and here we go, hello from Docker. So everything was fine. Okay, so, but, oh my god, no. But there are some caveats with the default installation. For example, If we want to see the list of all active containers, we type docker ps minus dash a, but it will not work because of the permission denied while trying to connect to the Docker API error. And in order to fix that, we need to set up system permissions for the Docker engine. So this website has instructions how to do so. Let me just find them. Yeah, so here we are. Step 2, executing Docker command without sudo. So we can just copy the commands which will do the job for us. So basically, let me do that and enter my password. And here we should say see Docker in the groups, right? So everything seems to be kind of okay. And basically now we can try to run docker ps-all without sudo. Yep, here we go. So as we have Docker installed and running, we can go ahead and clone the repository. So you can go to JustChess website, and in the about page there are links to the source code repository. So the JustChess repository is a backend repository which implements the main server, but the local development environment settings such as Docker configuration files and environment variables are located in the JUDO, which stands for JustChess Docker repository. So you can kind of like read the README for introduction and explanation what is going on here, but I will just show you the steps required to set up this environment. So first of all, we need to clone this repository into our local machine. And by the way, if you're using Windows, then you will need to manually install Git from the official website. So basically, yeah, git.scm.com, you can install it and then come back here. So we will grab these commands and paste them into the terminal. Okay, now we have the repositories installed. You can use Linux commands such as cd and ls to kind of navigate through file directory, but I much prefer using thing called midnight commander, which is an orthodoxal file manager. It looks kind of like this, but you can change the default theme. And it basically is a two-pane file manager which allows to quickly navigate through file system in terminal. So let me go ahead and just install it into the virtual machines. Sudo apt install mc. All right. So the default theme is obviously horrific, but we can change it in the options and appearance. I prefer to use Julia 256 one. Alright, seems nice. And now we basically have the Judo repository installed. So it has the config folder, which has the configurations and environment variables for the services. It has db folder, which stores the migrations file. If you don't know what are database migrations, they are basically a mechanism which allows to kind of like provide a version control system for the database. So we basically, instead of having a single large SQL file which will create a schema, we define a multiple smaller files. Let me just grab a default basically nano will be fine. So we are defining a set of small SQL scripts in which we create tables or modify them. And we also provide, so the up script will, for example, create a table, and a down script will drop that tables. So it basically allows us to apply and roll back changes conveniently. Yes, so those are stored in the GB folder, and we also have seed folder which provides some mock data for testing purposes. So games.sql inserts 600 and slightly more than 600 games into database, and players inserts like a couple of players into the player table. All right. So we also have the Docker folder, which contains the Docker files. So as I said earlier, those are used to manage the containers. So yes, here you can watch them. And the shell script is used to manage the Docker containers without touching the Docker command. So let me just go ahead and copy the repositories, JustChess download. Yes, now we can go to the repo folder and see the source code files. This is our main backend, JustChess repository, and Chigo repository is a pure chess rules implementation. So as we have Docker and repositories installed, we can just simply run judo.sh start command to start all the services. I really hope everything is working. Oh my god, only 70 minutes and I already have explained a lot of stuff. I think we are doing pretty good. Alright. So the initial setup takes some time, but as you pull the image, the required images, you can then run containers really fastly. So basically, what we are doing now is Docker pulling the required software images. So for example, for MySQL database, there is an official image on the Docker Hub, as you can see. So yeah, this is an official image, and I use official images for this architecture. So we are using an official image MySQL for the database service. We are using official Go image for the backend service, and official MailPit image for the MailPit service. And basically it allows to kind of implement and manage this architecture. Alright, so I think everything is up and running. We can verify it by running docker ps -all, and seems like all containers are started, and we can check by going to the localhost 3502 which is the port for the backend service. And yeah, we have this problem because I forgot to apply initial database migration. So let me just do that by typing JustChess migrations up. Not migrations, but migration. Yeah, so we have applied all migration files, and now we should be able to visit the home page. Yep, as we can see, everything is running perfectly. So basically that's all the steps that are required to set up a local development environment from scratch. Now I will move to my host OS because virtual machine is kinda laggy, so yeah, I will just power off it. And I have basically done the same steps on my local machine, and I have the same, no, I don't have them running, so I will start them. So the start command will basically run all containers, so you cannot type any Docker command manually, which is kind of convenient. Alright, seems to be working. Let me verify it by going to the local host. Yep, here we go. So we have an empty leaderboard and we don't have a user account. I also suggest you to install MySQL Workbench. Yeah, MySQL Workbench to conveniently work with database, visualize queries and see the database schema. I have already installed it, so I will run it so I can show you the database diagram. So we can see that we have these tables. Engine game tables stores the games played versus computer engine. Let me show the columns. So we have moves which are stored in the binary format. We have the number of played moves, we have player color, player ID, result termination, and kind of timestamps. We also have password reset table, which stores the password reset tokens. Alright, we have the player table, which stores the user credentials, which is email, password, rating, according to the Glico2 rating system, and basically that's it. We have rated game, which stores the rated game info, kind of similar to the engine game, but it stores white and black ID instead of a single player ID, and it also stores the time differences because rated games are played with clocks and engine games are played without clocks. So schema migrations to manage the database migrations, session table to store active user sessions, and sign up token to verify the registration process. So let me show you quickly the registration process. To create an account, you need to enter your email. Let me just fill up the fields. So for email address, as we are using MailPit, you can enter whatever you want. So basically some random stuff. And for the password, at least 5 characters. So let me sign up. Yes, and go to the MailPit to check. Yeah, so MailPit is running on the port 8025, and basically we see this email message. So to confirm the registration, we need to click on the link in the email and hit continue. Yeah, so we have now the created account, but it is empty. So basically we can play a testing game, why not, to just kind of like show you that everything is working. So I don't know, I will mute this because I don't know about the sound on the stream. It might be too loud, so I will mute it for now. So basically, yeah, we have a game versus the engine. I will just quickly finish it to show you that database is working properly. So I don't know. Let me go here. Yeah, so we actually may want to resign to speed up the process. And if we will go to the engine tab, we see this game and we see all moves. So the database is working fine. All right, so now that you have the setup local development environment, I can show you how to apply changes to it and how to see these changes. So basically, we have, let me just type docker ps -all. So we have uh, 4 running containers. First container is JustChess. This is a main backend, the main backend service. If you make changes to this service, you will need to rebuild the container. To rebuild the container, simply use JustChess judo rebuild and the container name. So to rebuild JustChess, we use judo.sh rebuild JustChess. If you're modifying the JavaScript files and CSS files, then you cannot rebuild the image. You can simply reload the page and it will apply these modifications. If you're making changes to the database, you also don't need to rebuild the image. You will need to make a migration file and apply it by running judo.sh migration app. So let me quickly show you the process. So for example, I want to kind of modify the backend code. So let me open the code editor and go to so initially, if you will open judo folder in the code editor, you will see this project structure. So source code repositories are located in the repo folder. So to modify the backend, you need to go to repo JustChess. So it is a kind of familiar Golang standard project hierarchy, where you have the CMD folder which contains the main.go file and entry point to the program. Internal folder contains all internal packages, and web folder under scope web folder contains the front-end files. Alright, so we want to modify the backend, and for example, I want to modify some package. Let me do I don't know, maybe aus1. So I don't even know what to do so that it can be simply modified and kind of you can see what is going on. Let me just think a couple of minutes. Yeah, I kinda the simplest way to show how to modify will be to create an additional endpoint in the web package, which will simply return the hello world on something. So we can go ahead and do that by adding the endpoint to the serve mux. So basically maybe hello will do this job, and basically handle hello. So and the response writer write, and it will be byte hello from server. I think it will be enough, but maybe we should also write header http status. Okay. Alright, let's see. So we have modified the backend service, we have added an additional endpoint, and if we will go in browser and simply try it, so localhost hello, we will see that the endpoint was not added. So let me rebuild the service, juda sh rebuild JustChess. It was rebuilded and it was kind of fast, as you can see. On my machine it takes only 1 second to rebuild the service. So if we will update the page, we see hello from server. So the updates were successfully applied. Now I want to show you how to update the front end. So we can go to the underscope web folder and maybe modify some template file. For example, I want to modify the homepage file. Let me just do that. So, okay, let's just add some kind of header file. Header, so basically updated home page. And as you can see, if we will go to the home page, we do not see this updated HTML element. So why is that? Because template files are compiled, not compiled, but parsed in the initial when the server initializes. So that means that in order to see the modifications in the template files, we need to also rebuild the backend service. And now we should be able to see this. Alright, so looks like there is a problem with this site. This is pretty interesting. Why? Okay, so it kinda sometimes it shows that service was successfully started, but in reality the browser cannot reach this service, and you just need to wait a couple of seconds. So yeah, now we have this updated HTML element, which is kind of okay. And let me show you how to update the script files. Maybe it will be kinda good. Alright, so I don't even know how to do. Okay, so we can create a test message. So basically on the home page we can create this is a test message. And yep, this is a test message. If you can see it, I hope you can. I'm not sure because I kinda not haven't set up the OBS output properly yet. Maybe on the next stream I will manage to do that. Let me just spam 10 messages so you can surely see it. So let me go ahead and create a loop for it. Let t is equal 0, e less than 10, e plus plus. Yeah, now you can surely see that. There are 10 test messages, we can close them. So basically, yeah, and it haven't required to rebuild the whole backend service to apply modifications to scripts. So at this point, I have shown you how to set up the local development environment, how to apply changes. And basically for today's stream, I think it is, we have reached the goal of today's stream, basically. In the next couple of streams, I will probably rewrite the front end of the application because now it is kind of messy and the code is really bad. As you can see, on each page is wrapped into this anonymous function because I have set up the WebPack to bundle all files into a single one. But I will definitely try to avoid that and make the code cleaner. So yeah, it will be definitely a topic of the next couple of streams, definitely. But for today, I think it will be good if I will stop here because I want to make streams kind of like so the topics of the streams are sequential and not mixed, so it will be better to rewatch them later on. So yeah, today will be kind of short stream, but we have reached the goal and why not? So I don't see any questions in the chat. I don't even know if I'm live actually. Let me just see it. Yeah, I'm okay. So I think it will be enough for today. I hope everything is clear. If you will have some questions, you can ask them later on in the comments of the comment section. So yeah, have a great day and